Cantwell for including the Restore Our Parks Act on the markup today. I want to acknowledge Senator Warner, who was referred to earlier. He first approached me about this a couple of years ago. We're all looking for ways to address this unacceptable backlog in our parks, and we're looking for something that's stable and predictable. His idea was to use some of the unallocated offshore and onshore energy revenues. We joined with Senator Alexander and Senator King to develop consensus legislation, working with the administration, including Mick Mulvaney at OMB and Secretary Zinke. I want to particularly thank Senator Alexander for the key role he played bringing people together, as he does well. We're now joined by 27 co-sponsors, 8 of whom, Madam Chair, are actually on the committee. I'm also pleased that a nearly identical bipartisan bill passed the House Natural Resources Committee last month, led by Chairman Bishop. And as you know, Madam Chair, I've been working on this for over 10 years now. When I was OMB director back in the Bush administration, we put something in the budget to deal with the backlog. Not enough, but Congress has tried in different ways. To me, it's about good stewardship, as we've been talking about today, and it's about saving tax dollars over the long term with predictable funding for capital expenditures. In December of 2016, we actually codified the Centennial Challenge here in Congress, which provides this match. So it's a $1 of federal funding for every dollar of private or other non-federal money, and actually the match has worked well. To try to deal with deferred maintenance was part of the reason for that Centennial match. But frankly, the funds go to other sources, and even if it all went to this, it wouldn't be enough. It's $120 million over 5 years, again, compared to the nearly $12 billion in deferred maintenance. So this legislation is needed. That's why we got to have this Restore Our Parks Act. I'm pleased it's supported by a lot of conservation and parks groups and folks around the country. It's also supported by the administration. And again, having been an OMB director, this is very significant that the administration and OMB are on board with this solution to, again, finding a way to ensure that we have deferred maintenance backlog tackled in a fiscally conservative way. These costs are only going to increase over time if we don't address them, and to do so in a way that's predictable and certain. Now, I've been at my parks in Ohio. Cuyahoga Valley National Park would be an example where by not fixing this stuff, someone mentioned not fixing the pothole and then having to repave the entire road. The same is true with a bridge in Cuyahoga Valley National Park. Not fixing a part of the bridge means the whole bridge collapses. Not fixing the roof means the building is ruined. So I think this is a fiscally responsible way to avoid the compounding effect you have when you don't deal with deferred maintenance. It does it very simply. It has a legacy restoration fund directing half of all annual energy resources that are not otherwise allocated to be used for these projects. These have to be priority deferred maintenance projects. The bill also caps deposits into the fund at $1.3 billion per year for the next 5 years, which could provide, again, if the funding is there, because it's only allocated if it's not already used elsewhere, but it could provide up to $6.5 billion for deferred maintenance projects at our parks. Some might say, well, it's not 12, that's just over half, but it is $6.5 billion, the number that the park says are the immediate priority projects, like the ones I talked about at Cuyahoga Valley. So these parks, as we all know, are national treasures. This is a national problem. I look forward to working with my colleagues on addressing it, and I would ask my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to support us today to move this legislation forward.